video's over, so just
All right.
wanted
So we're gonna do a little sidebar, and we're gonna do a little book recommendation power hour. All right. So I got a couple books that my dad and I would listen to the audiobooks whenever we were in the car back in the day. So I'm gonna give you guys some recs
Oh, jeez.
if you're interested in history, anything, because I'm a huge history buff. But not as much as my grandfather. Both my grandfathers actually are huge history guys. Like they know as much about history than anybody I know. Um, the first one I'll say is something called "The Rise and Fall of the Third Reich."
I love that book.
I have never read it. It's like
Oh, it's so
if you
good.
listen to the audiobook, it's like 46
Yeah.
pages. Oh no, 46 hours and
Yeah.
like 1,000 pages. And I'll always remember when we were at my cousin's house, I would see it like up on like the shelf, and from when I was really young, it just like was like Rise and Fall of the Third Reich. It was this black like brick, and I was like, I wonder what that's about. And it goes into like
Oh, yeah.
the most comprehensive view of the rise of Hitler in the 30s, World War II,
Before
like
that, too,
whatever.
just,
Yeah,
like
Hitler's life.
just the party in general. Like it is so incredibly
Yeah.
detailed.
I have
It's,
never read it, but I am
Yeah.
definitely going to in the future.
It's one of the best. It might be the best historical, like, just book as far as writing goes I've probably ever read.
Yep. All right, so the first one I'm going to show you guys is this Cape Cod one. It's by these two guys, Jack Coogan and Jack Sheedy, or Jim Coogan and Jack Sheedy.
Cape Cod Collected.
And I'm just going to read the back of it, each one. So, Cape Cod, a peninsula rich in history and lore, created during a glacial epoch some 20 million years ago, first populated by Native Americans as early as 7,000 years ago, and eventually settled by Europeans 4 centuries ago. The place has been amassed a trove of history, and the paints Cape Cod as a part from others. I was just trying to read that fast.
Yeah, jeez.
That was just for the meme. That was just for the meme. All right. Cape Cod Collected is a compilation of Jim Coogan and Jack Sheedy's best published tales, edited and updated for new generation of readers. This collection is their 5th collaboration effort and represents short of Cape Cod's greatest hits, showcasing many of the shipwrecks, lighthouses, sea captains, and enterprising landlubbers.
Sonny's here.
Oh, sweet. What's up, Sonny? We're doing a little book power hour here with a bunch of recommendations, like history books and etc. So you should throw something in the chat if you got something. Okay, these collected tales bring Cape Cod of old back to life once again for today's readers to explore. All right, and I'm just going to go through like the table of contents and kind of go through all of the... I'm just going to read the table of contents so you guys can kind of see what kind of stuff they said. So, first one, so if you see, well, it's going to be reversed, but there's going to be like, you can't really see, but like headings, and then there's like subheadings where they talk about each story, and they're each story is probably just like a few paragraphs long, but it gives like rapid fire like stories and interesting things. So if we go to it, early days, how the Cape was formed, the realm of the Great Spirit. So that's like a Native American. I'm probably like 40 pages into this, and it's a very quick read. It's only like 150 pages.
Sonny with a classic. Oh.
What does Sonny say? The Prince of Machiavelli. Yeah, I haven't. The Prince by Machiavelli. I have not read that whole thing for my I think it was in early modern history. Like at Fordham, I had to take like extensive like liberal arts education, even though I was a science guy in an econ guy, but we had to take a ton of history stuff. So in like art history, philosophy. So we're definitely going to be going into a lot of that if we keep streaming. So if you watched our first stream, okay, my nose is like super red. This is going to look horrible on camera.
It's just the camera.
But yeah, my nose literally looks like it's probably sunburn, honestly. All right, we'll keep going. The Cape Christopher Columbus, which is about a dude like who discovered a lot of the Cape stuff. Martin Pring, a forgotten Cape explorer, appointed rearguard action, and Squanto Satin. The Squanto one was very cool. All right, at work. So it's about like innovations on the Cape. So innovative Cape Codders, great marshes of West Barnstable, the glint of Sandwich, and then we'll go to At Sea, and then we can probably like move on to the next book. So Woman Who Went to Sea, John Adams' Other Abigail, Stories of the Prohibition Days, Captain Josiah Knowles, Oh, A Caught for the Wilderness, and A Whale Tale in a Chicago Fair. Yeah, so that was pretty cool. All right. The next book I have for you guys is called The Mayflower by Nathaniel Philbrick, who's like a fantastic writer. He writes in like a super, super engaging style. So this book is all about like the Mayflower and the Pilgrims' first couple years in the New World. And I really love this book. I read this a couple years ago. It's one of my grandmother, Nana, R.I.P., one of her favorite books. And my Nana, she loved history. She loved, she was from Plymouth, so she loved Plymouth history specifically. And with my Nana, I'll always remember, my brother's in the chat. Nick, you know Nana was a history buff and loved history. And Nick says, The Things They Carried by Tim O'Brien is a S-tier history book. Agreed. Yep, I had to read that for Mr. D, who knows Mr. D in the chat. Mr. D, one of the greatest teachers in BR history. We had to read that, and actually we had to read this book by Anne Lamott called Bird by Bird, which basically was like how people formulate arguments and how people try to write books. So it's a book called Bird by Bird, and we had to look at that through the lens, or we had to look at The Things They Carried, which is a book about the Vietnam War, and we had to look at that book through the lens of Bird by Bird. Yeah. And that was that was junior year, like AP English, and that was like the first time I ever did like serious literary analysis like that. And I've like gone back and read that paper. I was like, oh my god, this is horrible.
Yeah,
it's like legit horrible. All right, so let's read the back of The Mayflower. The simple question launches an acclaimed author. Nathaniel Philbrick is on an extraordinary journey to understand the truth behind our most sacred national myth, the voyage of the Mayflower and the settlement of Plymouth Colony. As Philbrick reveals this electrifying new history of the Pilgrims, the story of Plymouth Colony was a 55-year epic that began in peril and ended in war. Was that the King Philip's War? Was that what it was that ended it?
That ended...
Or like the Native Americans fought against like the Pilgrims. Was that King Philip's?
That one might have been slightly later.
Yeah, let's do that.
We have the entirety of the world's information.
Yeah, we have the entirety of the world's information at our fingertips here. And if there's kind of some older people watching and you don't know, like Wikipedia, like in school we were told
probably would be it. Yes,
told to never use Wikipedia, but like this is the world's every information in the world is on this site.
So, we are not like 10 minutes away from many of these battle sites.
Yeah, so we live in Bridgewater, so there are multiple battle sites throughout southeastern Massachusetts. And King Philip's head. So I forget, King Philip, it was weird. King Philip was a Native American, right?
Metacom, yeah.
Yeah, so I always...
Metacom, yeah.
Oh, Pocasset, that's where I live.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. Is that the same Pocasset?
It says their father died shortly after the death of their father.
Hold on, go to Pocasset. Is that a place or a man or a...
The Puck was the village governed by Massasoit. The term broadened to refer to all people and lands governed by Massasoit and his successors, which were part of the Wampanoag people. Oh, I see.
All right, so let me just finish up on The Mayflower. So this is done by Nathaniel Philbrick, who is like a super, super engaging writer, and he goes into what's the French and Indian War? Is that something else? I think that's something else.
Isn't that what it's called?
Or no, I thought there's like King Philip's War, and then there's the French and Indian. Oh no, hold on, go back. No, wait, never mind. Yeah, go to the French.
Isn't it called the French? Yeah, French and Indian War.
No, I know there's a French and Indian War, but I didn't know if that's different from King Philip's War.
It was a theater of the 7 Years' War.
Okay.
North America.
Wait, wasn't the 7 Years' War like the War of the Roses in England? Or like...
It says it was a global conflict that involved most of the European great powers, was fought primarily in Europe. Yeah.
Dude, honestly, we should look into that. Like Native American and early American history is fascinating. So actually, I don't have this book with me, but another book I read that was fantastic is... Go on.
Huh? Oh, no, I was just reading.
Oh. Another book I've read that's fantastic is Into the Heart of the Sea by Nathaniel Philbrick, which is actually what Moby Dick is based on. So I also have Moby Dick by Herman Melville, which I have never read, but I remember there is a... I think it's at the New Bedford Whaling Museum. They have like an event
Yep.
where like everybody, like people from the whaling like history community will go, and everybody reads a chapter of Moby Dick, and they like do like a, honestly they should like stream this. That would be a great thing they can possibly do, where they read everybody reads a chapter of Moby Dick. Hold on, Nick's commenting. Nick
Oh, he already-
Nick
that was a
Nick
couple
knows
minutes
about
ago.
this. Can confirm, Nana definitely a Pilgrim enthusiast. Yes, it was King Philip's War. It was the French and England Indian War, but the colonies called it 7 Years' War. Nick, if you know anything more about this, keep going, because my brother Nick Longo is like way more knowledgeable in history than me. Like I remember, there's been times when like he was probably like 10 years old or like 11, 12, and he was just like rattling off things about like the Roman like conflict because he watched so much YouTube. Yeah.
I love talking
Nick,
about
throw some stuff in the chat, and if you got anything on the Rise and Fall, say that too, because I know you listen to the audiobook. But Nathaniel Philbrick was a fantastic, like just making a story, and so he wrote Into the Heart of the Sea, which is
the
the
Heart of the
story. What is it?
In the Heart of the Sea.
Is it in the Heart of the Sea?
I think.
Whatever. But so he wrote that book, which is about the original story from Moby Dick.
I like that better, honestly.
Yeah,
Moby
it's
Dick.
like it's based on real life, which
Yeah.
is crazy. So yeah, then we have Moby Dick here, which I actually listened one time to a like a 3 hour condensed version of Moby Dick, and it was very good. So yeah. Okay, so next we're on to a book that's one of my dad's favorite books. It's a absolute tank, and
Jeez.
this is actually only one of 3 books, and it's called The Last Lion. It's about Winston Churchill, who I actually did a project on in 7th grade, where I just was like obsessively like poring over World War II history and books about Winston Churchill, and I got up there and like I just, yeah, it was super super good. But yeah, this is a book called Last Lion by, is it by William? No, it's by yeah, William Manchester. So this book is made up of like 3 parts, and this is the part that focuses on 1940 to 1965, and it's called, the like subheader is called The Last Lion, Defender of the Realm. So this is another great World War II history from Churchill's perspective, and like him giving like you know, during the Blitzkrieg and like during the war and the politics from the British. That, so I gotta really read these books. I gotta read Rise and Fall, and then I gotta read. There's so much to read.
Oh, I'm gonna be adding some more at the end of this. Don't worry.
You got some?
I got plenty.
And then yeah. So this is a fantastic book. One of my dad's favorite books. Another audio book we would listen to in the car. Okay. Next, we got a book about John Adams, who was from Massachusetts. I actually don't think this is the John Adams. Is this like the famous John Adams? All right, we got a thing from Nick in the chat. Rise and Fall was the most dense book I've ever read.
Yep.
Has to be applauded for how comprehensive it is.
So you
Absolutely.
ain't lying. It's probably one of the most dense books I've ever read too.
Yeah. So, Gordy, is this the famous John Adams biography? There's one by like,
I know what you're talking about.
There's one by the dude who did the Jobs book.
It is, because this is the dude that wrote Truman as well.
Hold on.
Yeah, this is the guy, David Yeah, he's
Are
the
we
one that
sure?
does. He's the one that does everything.
Are
isn't
we
it?
sure?
I mean, this is an older copy,
Hold
so
on. I want to see this.
let's just look it up.
Yeah, John Adams. I mean, obviously the second president, but he was a very interesting guy. Yeah, he did Truman. Yeah.
This is
We got to find out if he did Jobs. Oh, no. Go back. Walter Isaacson. That's who I'm thinking of.
well, this is the guy that wrote this one.
Go back,
So
go
he
back.
must not. Hold on, I just want to see what books this guy wrote. Truman, John Adams. So,
Oh,
he's the one
yeah,
that
I wanna
wrote
read
1776.
that. I
I've
wanna
read this.
read
This is
that,
a fantastic book.
Yeah, go to
And that
go to
he did one on the
1776 for a
Wright
second.
brothers as well. Yeah, this book. Hold on, I got to show. This book is phenomenal.
Yeah, I want to read this. This how long is it? It's only 300. I might honestly read this next.
There's also a book called 1775 as well. Which
Really? Is there?
like 1775, underrated year.
Would you
Obviously.
mind reading the little snippet there?
Here, at the top.
Yeah, would you mind reading that?
It says focuses on the events surrounding the start of the American Revolutionary War, while revolving mostly around the leadership and often indecisiveness of George Washington. There's also considerable attention given to
Indecisiveness of George Washington?
historically indecisive, especially during this time period.
I didn't know that.
There was also considerable attention given to King George III, William Howe, Henry Knox, Nathaniel Greene. I think Nick's talking. Oh, no, he's not. Key Revolutionary War battles detailed in the book include the Battle of Dorchester Heights, the Battle of Long Island, the Battle of Trenton. Activities of the Second Continental Congress, Classic, and the signing of the Declaration of Independence are treated in less detail, as the focus is on military rather than political events. This book includes multiple pages of full-color illustrations, including portraits and historical battlefield maps made by British engineers at the time. Yeah, this book is phenomenal.
And go back. We need to go to Walter Isaacson.
Yes. Where did you see him?
Go back again. Right there. Right down there under praise. Go up.
Oh.
Yeah, so this is another super famous.
Oh, yeah, this is the dude.
This was the dude I was talking about. Yeah. Go to.
Yeah, Benjamin Franklin, Einstein. Dude, Einstein, His Life and Universe is one of the best books I've ever read.
I hate that there's so much to read.
This book is incredible. Yep, the Steve Jobs.
Dude, honestly, don't.
Leonardo, he did a Da Vinci book? That must be.
Dude, honestly,
and he did most.
Honestly, I think I might do 1776 next, but then I need to get to the Rise and Fall.
Yeah, you got to read this too. This is.
How long is it?
675. They're all long. I don't think this guy's written a short book.
Hold on, go back again. Let's see who else he did. Go to the Jobs one, and actually, go back one more time. Sorry, Lav is reading the Da Vinci one right now.
Yeah, I've read the Da Vinci one.
Yeah. So can you go back to Jobs? Yeah, so this was a book that I wanted to read this when I was probably 11 years old because my grandfather was reading it.
This one was hot.
And I really wanted to read it, and I was just not at the reading level to be able to understand this. But I gave it a go. I probably stopped 50 pages in, but yeah, All right, so we can go back.
What was I going to say? Where were you at?
Do we want to keep going with the books?
Yes. I got a lot of books I want to read.
And I got actually 2 more over there that have to do with climate change, actually, so we can get into those. All right, this is a book called Into Thin Air. This is one of my favorite books done by one of my favorite authors, Jon Krakauer. So he did the book Into the Wild, which when people ask for my favorite book for a long time, I said Into the Wild.
Dude, I love that.
But honestly, I think I might be changing. Well, I don't know.
I can never give just one.
Into the Wild is kind of an antiquated, high school favorite book. I feel like I gotta find something a little more mature.
I don't think that's an immature take.
Well, I don't know. It's just I don't know.
Anybody that would criticize somebody for their favorite book.
But this is an insane story.
Oh yeah,
insane. This is the level of Shackleton in terms of adventurism. So. Into Thin Air, Jon Krakauer was actually on one of the deadliest expeditions to Mount Everest of all time. If we read the back of this book, when Jon Krakauer reached the summit of Mount Everest in the early afternoon of May 10, 1996, he hadn't slept in 57 hours and was reeling from the brain-altering effects of oxygen depletion. As he turned to begin the perilous descent from 29,000 feet, roughly cruising altitude of an Airbus jetliner, 20 other climbers were still pushing dodgily to the top, unaware that the sky had begun to roil with clouds. In this definitive account of the deadliest season in the history of Everest, Jon Krakauer takes the reader step by step from the Kathmandu to the deadliest...
What's his name?
Jon Krakauer.
Okay, you were struggling with his name.
I did not... Jon Krakauer?
At the beginning, yeah, see, he agrees. At the beginning, you were like Jon Crack.
All right, wait. Who is Lord Ube? Lord Ube, are you somebody we know, or are you new?
Yeah, Jon Krakauer is insane.
Yeah, if you're not, are you? Because we were saying, is Lord Ube our first outside Oh, it's fucking my cousin Connor. All right, I didn't know that was you. Okay, all right. Connor, do you hear me talking about the rise and fall of the Third Reich in your house? Do you remember that?
Oh, I see what you mean. I was like, what does the Third Reich have to do with this house?
No.
Got me scared for a second.
Familiar. No. Your dad had this book, The Rise and Fall of the Third Reich, which is one of the craziest history books of all time, and I always remember just looking at that at your house. But yeah, so this one is about Into Thin Air. It's about so John Krakauer was commissioned by like Men's Magazine, I'm pretty sure, to write about his experience climbing Everest. And it just so happened that he was in one of the deadliest trips to Everest of all time. I think like multiple people died. And Krakauer was actually like panned in the media or like panned by some climbing people because when he got back to the base camp, he totally like went back in his camp and like tried to sleep instead of saving the other people. So yeah. Can you hand me those two books next to me?
And you went through all of that only for you to call him John Cracker all these years
I
later.
did not call him that. Okay, so this is actually a very influential book in the world of environmental climate policy and economics. It's called Energy at a Crossroad by Vaclav Smil. And this was an author in a book actually recommended to me by Bill Gates. He always says that Vaclav Smil is his favorite author, and he was a big-time like energy economist and energy researcher. So this book is a little bit old. I think it was written in 2001, but it basically goes into like all of the climate policy research and all the energy sources in can we go to Vaclav Smil's bibliography?
Mm-hmm.
So
if you like late Edo period
Next comment,
Japan,
tell me.
give Stranger in the Shogun City, but that's one I want to read, definitely. I got so many Japanese
oh,
books
and
I'm
after
gonna
can
mention.
we actually go? What's that book with like the? Remember that sword fighting dude?
I'm gonna bring that up.
All right, Gordian will bring that up.
I will bring that up.
All right,
What's this guy's name? Smickelberg?
Vaclav Smil. And can we? We'll get back to the Arctic for sure, but this is a good sidebar here. And just go to his bibliography. Like, yeah, he is insane.
A lot of hard.
Yeah. So this is the one I read about. Like, I mean, all of them are tangentially related
What
to
was it?
climate
2000.
policy.
What's that one? Energy at the Crossroads. Oh, it's 2003.
2003. And the one I actually read or listened, because when I was at home, I worked for Home Depot for 4 years, and they allowed you to have like headphones in. So like, back in the day, I would just like bang out audiobooks. So that's why I'm.
Japan's dietary.
So
transition.
honestly, I don't know if this is a controversial take, but a lot of these, when I'm claiming I read them, I actually listened to the audiobook. Do you disrespect that?
No.
Okay. And of course, you got to go in 1.5 speed, if not faster. So there's one called this one was crazy. Hold on, can you look
This
up?
one's newer.
Can you look up Growth and
Yeah,
Civilization? This one was fantastic.
Growth and Civilization?
But honestly, yeah.
Or is it Energy and Civilization?
Oh, energy, yeah.
Okay.
And there's another one he has on Growth. Yeah, so this is
on the
Bill
MIT
Gates.
website.
This is Bill Gates' favorite author. Yeah, there he is. Yeah.
Comprehensive account on how energy has shaped society throughout history, from pre-agricultural foraging
This is
societies
a funny
to
quote.
today's fossil fuel driven civilization. Yeah, this is. I wait for new Smil books the way some people wait for the next Star Wars movie. That is a crazy quote. In his latest book, Energy and Civilization History, he goes deep and broad to explain how innovations in humans' ability to turn energy into heat, light, and motion have been a driving force behind our cultural and economic progress over the past 10,000 years.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, so he goes like way. This was honestly kind of a hard book to listen to audio because it's basically all just like friggin' numbers and I shouldn't swear, but numbers and stats. So hold on, can we try to? Well, that's actually all right. But yeah, that's Vaclav Smil's a boss. So can I have one last book?
Yeah, okay. What is it?
It's this book right here.
What book?
The book right next to you.
Oh, this one. I think you're pointing to the screen.
Nope. Yep. So this is a book. Can I see myself again? All right. This is one of the best books I have read recently. I think I read it
DY?
last year. Yep. It's by a guy named Daniel Yergin, and it's called The New Map. And this is one of the best books I have ever read. If you want to get into climate policy, foreign affairs, anything like that, I recommend this very strongly. And Daniel Yergin is a boss. So what he basically went into is like how energy and renewables are shifting the global world order. He talks about automation, autonomous vehicles. Let's go to the table of contents here. Yeah, energy, climate, and the clash of nations. So this, I really love this book. So Yeah, so he talks about like the discovery of fracking and how that gave America a lot of leverage. Because in it at a time, like if you remember in like 2008 and 2012, America was like focusing on like energy security, and that was a big thing. But as fracking and the creation of LNG, which is liquid natural gas, heated up, and they were able
No pun
to
intended.
make more gas and produce this through fracking, it really gave America a lot of leverage. But again, if they're doing fracking, obviously that is horrific for the environment. And honestly, Biden is not doing the best on curbing fracking. But yeah, so it goes into, and then it goes into Russia and the Nord Stream pipeline. And this was obviously before he started killing people. And then they go into China, which is my main interest. Again, I wrote my senior thesis on geopolitics, specifically relating to China, voice crack. And then he goes into the Middle East, talking about the Iranian Revolution, wars in the Gulf, uh, oil in Iran. Then he goes into roadmap, which talks about electric cars. Then he talks about the climate map, which is like how we're going to go about the energy transition and what's that going to do to the global world order. So yeah, I cannot recommend this book enough if you're interested at all in foreign affairs, climate policy, climate economics, what have you. All right, that was a long spiel. So
Well,
Gordy,
I got
take it
more.
away.
Honestly,
Woo!
wish you told me we were going to be doing this because
I did.
I
Yeah,
would have
I
thought
did
of a
not
lot
know.
more. All right, I'm going to kind of think on the fly here, but my first, I guess, history book is kind of cheating because it's technically the first history book.
Okay.
It is Herodotus's Histories. Let's see if I can find his. He's referred to as the. If you don't know who this guy is, essentially, he was a Greek historian and geographer from the Greek city of Halicarnassus, which is part of the Persian Empire. And he is known for having written the Histories. There it is. A detailed account of the Greco-Persian Wars. Herodotus was the first writer to perform systematic investigation of historical events.
Wait, hold on. The first ever history book was written in 484 BC. That seems very like recent.
He was the first writer to perform systematic investigation of historical
this-
events. So,
I get well.
like, he investigated history and
Wait,
wrote down.
when was like Mesopotamia? Like, hold
I
on.
don't think-
Look that up.
Yeah, but that's before. But we need his history.
Wait, 31,000 BC. And,
Yeah, but
yeah, but you're telling me there was
there's no
nobody.
historical writing.
No,
What are you doing?
why
You're
not?
finding statues.
Yeah, but not. You tell me they didn't write history books?
Have you ever read a Mesopotamian
No,
first-hand
but
history book?
Well, I'm sure you're right, but yeah, let's go back to that. But yeah, it seems a little weird that the first history book was only written like what, like 2,400
Yeah,
years ago?
pictographic scripts, proto-cuneiform.
Yeah, but I'm
So there
sure
was
they were
no, like-
taking out history stuff. But regardless, all right, let's
Look
go.
up
That was
Mesopotamian first-hand history. I don't think we're gonna find anything.
all right. This is a total sidebar.
Really pioneers. Yeah, there's no. These guys were struggling to like survive. I don't think they were worried about that.
No, but didn't we learn in like fifth grade they had like priests in like a super advanced society with the Tigris and the Euphrates?
Super advanced is a little relative. There.
Well, like
Jesus.
super advanced relative to they lived in 10,000 BC. Dude, and we gotta go into at some point. Like, I don't know if you guys have heard the Rogan about like the Rogan
This
episode.
was like the most advanced stuff they were rocking in the day. It was a jar.
All right, that is funny. But we gotta go into
Anyway,
all right. Anyway, I just interrupted you. I was talking for a long time, and I just interrupted
Herodotus was the first writer to perform systematic investigation. Now that involves using the scientific method
you. Okay.
in your writing. He is referred to as the father of history. That pissed you off, apparently.
Yep.
A title conferred on him by the ancient Roman orator Cicero, which is
Yep.
that's a great
Hold on,
thing
my mom's gonna
to be dubbed.
Hold on.
So
Yep.
the actual histories. So it's considered the founding work of history in Western literature, written around 430 BC in the dialect of Classical Greek. A record of ancient traditions, politics, geography, and clashes of various cultures that were known in Greece, Western Asia, and Northern Africa at the time. Although not a fully impartial record, it remains one of the West's most important sources regarding these affairs. Moreover, it establishes the genre and study in history of the Western world. Now, obviously, the versions of these that you read today are like heavily
Yeah.
um
And that was something we learned in like my Greek history class, or my I think it was called ancient philosophy, that like the versions of these books are like in like ancient Greek. So like there's
classical Greek.
the people who like learn ancient Greek are like wicked smart, but like I don't know, like how in like ancient Hebrew and interpreting like the original Bibles, like there's just like so much, like it's so ambiguous what they are like really saying. So
Yeah.
like yeah, that's crazy.
What's interesting about this work, though, is it says, although Herodotus considered his inquiries a serious pursuit of knowledge, he was not above relating entertaining tales derived from the collective body of myth.
Hmm.
So that's why when you look at a lot of like I guess you could say the table of contents for a lot of this, a lot of the stuff you're seeing about like Trojan War and just like stuff and just like lots of stuff in here that you can tell was more fanciful
Yeah.
than probably direct
Hold on. Can
history.
you pause for a second? I gotta ask you something.
Yes, give me 1 second.
each of which took about 4 hours to read aloud. As the Greeks increased in influence and power, Herodotus's writing and the idea
All right,
of
basically
history
what we were just
spread
doing was
across
trying
the
to put
Mediterranean.
this stream
As
on
the
my
first-
Instagram story so we could expand it a little bit. And I'm actually going to tweet it on my main account as well. We made a new Twitter, so at some point we'll start promoting that. But yeah, so that's what we were doing. So
that was
Gordian,
my-
take it away.
That was my first book.
Yeah, give a couple books.
That was my first book. Second book, I'm gonna again cheat a little bit because it's not technically like a world history book, although it kind of is in some points. But it's Stephen Hawking's A Brief History of Time, technically a history book. And this book is like monumental when you read it. So it's on theoretical cosmology, but it goes into a lot about our initial historical, I guess, perspectives on astronomy and just what we thought about, where we are, our place in the universe, and our place in the realms of everything in general. And he goes all the way back to, Greeks, and it just takes us basically through a historical perspective of our views of not only Earth, but the solar system and the universe.
If you missed a couple of our streams, Gordian has said he has a lot of experience in like physics and astrophysics, like that's what your degree is in.
Yep.
And I know you're potentially going to be pursuing your PhD at some point.
Mm-hmm.
But can you talk about a little bit about how influential Hawking is? Because I think a lot of people think that like Hawking is just like famous because he had an ALS.
Hawking,
but really he was one of the most influential people in physics in the 20th century.
I think he gets a I think he's incredibly underrated for his actual I guess both achievements and contributions to science and physics as a whole, whereas because he's had like movies about him, like The Theory of Everything, and he's written these famous books, people I feel like view him more in the way that people view like Neil deGrasse Tyson than in the way they would view somebody like Einstein. And obviously I'm not putting him, I guess, on the pedestal of somebody like Einstein, but he made significant scientific achievements, made significant contributions to our understandings of black holes and cosmology in general. His scientific works include collaborations with Roger Penrose on gravitational singularity theorems in the framework of general relativity, theoretical prediction that black holes emit radiation called Hawking radiation, which was a very, very big...
We went down a rabbit hole of trying to Gordian explain Hawking radiation to me, and it was monumental. So me and Gordian will go on like these quantum mechanics.
So like we'll like read, and then we'll find a new article, and then we'll keep going deeper.
And basically, like these are things that Gordian and I would do just like for fun on Discord, and now we're gonna hope to like potentially stream these so we can kind of make some content out of them for sure. So
now, basically, what his contribution was. Now, this explains it in kind of a more wordy description, but I can simplify it after.
And honestly, go to ChatGPT and find out. That might be good, just to show how ChatGPT does it.
Oh yeah, so I'll read the.
Yeah, and then go to ChatGPT.
And then I can literally just copy paste it and say simplify this.
Yeah,
I feel like that would be
exactly.
Even better way to.
Yep, that's good.
But it says our current understanding of quantum physics can be used to investigate what may happen in the region around the event horizon, which is kind of the point of no return of a black hole. In 1974, British physicist Stephen Hawking used quantum field theory and curved spacetime to show that, in theory, instead of canceling each other out normally, the antimatter and matter fields were disrupted by the black hole, causing antimatter and matter particles to blip into existence as a result of the imbalanced matter fields, and drawing energy from the disruptor itself, the black holes, to escape, effectively draining energy from the black hole. And that was the big thing. The black holes technically were no longer these static, unmoving things, but they could essentially bleed out energy. In addition, not all of the particles were close to the event horizon, and the ones that were could not escape. In effect, this energy acted as if the black hole itself was slowly evaporating, although it actually came from outside of it. So yeah, these things can lose energy and get smaller and smaller and smaller to the point that they eventually blip out of existence. But just as a quick example of how you can
and this is an example of how we can use chat. I'll honestly clip a little more of it.
Well, just because we know what that one's supposed to say. So simplify the following text.
Yeah, and again, this is something I use practically for like research I do for my various things. Like I've like simplified like like a 10-page scientific study and instantly be able to get like a 1-page summary. And I mean, it does it instantly. This is insane. And honestly, they just made a chat like it's the long. So say
But this is worded a lot simpler.
give it say in 600 characters, explain it.
That's not that much different.
Yeah, that's why I want it. Or 1,000 characters. So you can tell it exactly what to do, and it might not be exactly, but see, this is a hard one, so it's got
Because it has to like format it in such a way that it's going to meet exactly 1,000 characters.
And now, hold on, let copy and paste that, and then find out how many characters that is, just for the fun. Oh, just for the hell of it.
Wait, was it done?
I guess. All right. Well, it wasn't.
Oh, it might have been 1,000 characters or less.
Oh yeah, probably. Yeah. Well, it was close enough. All right. You want to go into your next book? Or are you done? Are you not done with talking?
Hold on. Where was I going? Yeah, but he made Matt. He's very underrated and made massive contributions. Initially, Hawking radiation was controversial. By the late 1970s, and following the publication of further research, discovery was widely accepted as a major breakthrough in theoretical physics. Hawking was first to set out a theory of cosmology explained by a union of the general theory of relativity and quantum mechanics, which is two things that we're still trying to reconcile to this day: the eventual quantum understanding of gravity, and I don't necessarily want to say the replacement, but I guess superseding of relativity as the foremost authority on gravity.
And you can just tell by how you're talking right now that you know your stuff. So like, we're not. Yeah. Let's go.
He was also a vigorous supporter of the many worlds interpretation of quantum mechanics, which
that's
is
Sean Carroll.
I'm a
Sean
big
Carroll right
fan
there.
of, particularly the guy.
See, we should watch like Sean Carroll videos at some point. Definitely.
100%.
Honestly,
Alright,
yeah. Okay. Well,
So that was a brief history of time. Stephen Hawking was another one. The next one is
and just before we say this, what's the Hawking movie called with Eddie Redmayne? Is that
Theory of Everything.
Yeah, that is fantastic. And
Great
talking about some top
film.
tier acting by
Yes.
Eddie Redmayne. Yes. I mean, he won the best actor for good reason.
So the next one is a book called, I think it's either 12 Caesars or the 12 Caesars. Yes. So it's a set of 12 biographies of Julius Caesar.
Who wrote it? I've never heard of this.
This is, you would love this. It's not necessarily, it's not really a book, but it's kind of like a compilation of
Go to that YouTube video where like that history channel that like does all like the Roman history.
Oh, the history and mythology explained or whatever it is.
Look up just a little sidebar. I just want to show everybody this because it's a great channel. Look up just Roman history. Look up like betrayal of Caesar or something. Roman history of betrayal of Caesar.
Betrayal of Caesar.
And it is.
Where is it?
You know what I'm talking about.
Yes.
Nick.
Weird history is good.
No, Nick, comment in the chat what we're looking for because I know you know it. Yeah, this right here. This channel right here.
Yes.
Yeah.
This guy is.
Yeah, this channel
is
insanely fantastic.
It's like insanely in depth as well.
And like he'll go into like military strategy.
He'll go into tactics.
Yeah, and
it is
crazy. This is a fantastic.
Honestly, yeah. Well, I mean, he's got almost 1 million subscribers, but yeah,
it's up to this for me.
He's great. But yes, this dude is fantastic.
Yeah. Okay.
I
so
would
continue with this. And I'm gonna go grab a drink.
But this is it's a set of 12 biographies of Julius Caesar and the first 11 emperors of the Roman Empire. So there's Julius Caesar, Augustus, Tiberius, Caligula, Claudius, Nero, Galba, Otho, Vitellius, Vespasian, Titus, and I can never say his name. So it was written in 121 AD, so definitely an old one, during the reign of Hadrian, and it's the largest among the surviving writings. So it was dedicated to a friend when it was written, and yeah, I can see why it was considered a very significant in antiquity and remains a primary source on Roman history, because you can just tell it's one of those things where through reading it, you can tell that whatever the topic is that they were reading on didn't happen all that long ago, just by the way they're talking about it and referring to it. Now, there are questions about the reliability of it that honestly, reading this just because it's very sensationalized and a very I guess fun way to read about this, because it's like described as racy, over sensationalist, packed with gossip, drama, and sometimes humor. And that's why it's so fun, because they don't leave anything out. They'll let you know every bad rumor that was going on about somebody at the time, relies on hearsay, rumors, and at times the author subjectively expresses his opinion many times. Several important events are omitted, also true. But God, this is, if you're going to read anything about the Caesars, this is probably the most fun of the books to read, because again, when this was written, they included every little dark secret, every little rumor that was about these guys.
I don't remember what was the difference between Julius Caesar and Caesar Augustus. Are those two different people?
Yeah, so Julius Caesar,
Yep.
first 11 years, and then we have Caesar Augustus. Octavian, the founder of the Roman Empire, the first Roman emperor from 27.
Wait, but didn't you just say Caesar came before?
Wait, what?
I can't remember who was first, Caesar Augustus or this Caesar.
It would have been Caesar. It would have been Caesar Augustus.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Wait, so he was the founder of the Roman Empire?
Yep.
Wait.
He reigned as the first Roman emperor from 27.
His great uncle was assassinated in 44 BC.
Wait, wasn't he the first though?
Oh, this is confusing. Nick, if you're in the chat,
Reign.
tell us
Okay,
the
we can
chat.
just look at the reign. Reign from 16th of January 27 BC to 84. Wow. His maternal great in 44 BC.
Yeah, but you guys gotta check. He lived to 76 and.
Oh no! It must have been Julius Caesar.
And we gotta, at some point in these streams, we can probably get Chris on for this. We gotta go into like the life of Jesus and stuff, and like a bunch of like theology stuff, because that is sick. Like talking about like the historical Jesus, etc.
Oh, wait a minute.
Yeah, this is very
He
confusing.
was the
Honestly.
founder of the Roman Empire.
Yeah, so what did... Look up a timeline of Roman Empire.
Emperors. Augustus.
Who was the last one? Constantine? No, Zeno. When did Constantine live? So it went to 14 or 4.
That was the second.
Who was the
Constantine
emperor during the time of Christ? Was it
would
Pontius Pilate or?
He wasn't.
Well, he was something. I think he was like the.
He wasn't.
I think he was like some like lower level guy.
Like, where's the? Am I ill? Common era. Oh wait, BCE to BCE to Common Era.
Okay, fair
Wait, that's
enough.
27 BCE to 14
Yeah, so Augustus
CE?
was the leader during time of Jesus.
Yeah, must have been.
All right, let's move on here from this.
All right. Anyway, keep getting sidetracked.
Yeah, this was supposed to be about Arctic exploration, and we are on Augustus. So we'll get back to Arctic exploration for sure, because I need that for something else. So
Next book is this is the book you were talking about. So this is by Miyamoto Musashi, and it's called The Book of Five Rings. Now this is one of the coolest books.
yeah, I listened to the audiobook of this during like peak COVID. It is fantastic.
Written by this man, a Japanese swordsman named Miyamoto Musashi, who was born in 1584, died in 1645. So he was a swordsman, a philosopher, a strategist, a writer, and a Ronin, which is a samurai essentially, who became renowned through stories of his unique double-bladed swordsmanship and undefeated record in his 61 duels, all to the death.
Wait, so what were those like organized as? They were just like games, or
they were everything,
or like those like in war.
They were everything under the sun. There was like organized ones at schools, like
so like not
tests
once
of
he just
ability.
got like shot by a stray arrow,
So 61. These are he's talking about 61 duels.
And
He's fought
after this?
more.
We should go to the Art of War for a second just to look at it.
Yeah, sure. But
Yeah, talk about this.
61 duels. Now, some of these are crazy. Like he was getting challenged because he was like disrespecting people, and his tactics, playing mind games with people, showing up late, and then just killing people and running away. Like it's absolutely insane.
Read some of his bio.
Yes.
And honestly, you wanna let's try this. Copy and paste or copy his whole biography, and then plug it in the chatbot. Just to see what it does. It might be a little long, but...
No, you know what we'll do? We'll do this.
Hold on, do half of it,
No, trust me. I know exactly what to do. What we're gonna say.
It might be too long.
No. A summary. Just see how it handles it.
It's gonna be too long.
Whatever.
Oh, it's gonna take it. You want to read that out loud, or
Let's see how.
actually give a little more.
No, I want to see how succinct this is.
All right, let's see.
Miyamoto Musashi, a renowned swordsman and strategist, was born in Harima Province in 1584. His father, Shinmen Munasai, was a skilled martial artist. Musashi's early life details are uncertain, but he suffered from eczema and was said to have never taken baths to avoid being caught off guard. That's crazy.
Oh.
He had his first successful duel at the age of 13 against Arima Kihei, a swordsman from the Shinto Ryu school. Musashi defeated several other opponents and never lost a duel. He traveled extensively, engaging in duels and refining his skills. One of his most famous duels was with Sasaki Kojiro on Ganryujima Island in 1612. Musashi arrived late and defeated Kojiro with a single strike. That's what I was talking about.
Yeah.
He just psyched them out. He arrived 6 hours late. And they thought he was supposed to be coming in by the direct road, but he came in on a boat, a rowboat from the side, snuck in, just rushed the dude, killed him once, and then just ran away. Insane. In his later years, Musashi resided with the Hosokawa clan and wrote influential works such as the Book of Five Rings. He passed away in 1645 at the age of 62, leaving behind teachings on self-discipline known as the Dokodo. Now that was Musashi, but the Book of Five Rings itself is kind of it's a book not just on his life, but also on strategy and lots of philosophical principles as well. And it's organized into different books that they integrate parts of his life with the teachings he's trying to convey, and it is such a crazy book to read because half of the stories you're like, wow, this is incredible that this happened, which a lot of these have been corroborated by other sources.
And something we should get into at some point is we should do one stream on ancient medieval strategy or early modern medieval strategy, and then we should get into a more modern modern warfare strategy.
Yep.
And honestly, I was brainstorming you know how they have those war games and war simulations, but the legit ones.
Yep.
We should see if we can find one of those and do streams of that because that would be sick.
There's a million of those.
That'd be sick. Do you want to keep it, or do you want to go on to the next? Or?
Yes. What? Oh god, I just drew a blank. What was the next one I was gonna do? There was the Book of Five Rings. There was the 12 Caesars. There was Brief History of Time. There's Herodotus' Histories. There was actually I have a couple of them in my phone book. So hold on.
All right, while Gordian's pulling that up, I'm gonna look up.
Oh, I got it.
Okay.
I got it.
Hold on, I'm gonna grab two more from upstairs.
Now again, some of these are this might be the most, I guess, romanticized, but obviously contains a lot of historical facts in here, even if they're presented in some interesting ways sometimes. And this is might be the most famous so far, but it's Romance of the Three Kingdoms. It's 14th century historical novel, and it's Chinese. And it's set in the turbulent years towards the end of the Han Dynasty and the Three Kingdoms period in Chinese history, starting in 184 AD and ending with the reunification of the land in 280 by Western Jin. The novel is primarily based on the records of the Three Kingdoms. Now, that would probably be the more historical text. But this, my God, there is everything that you could ever want in here because you get that lens of mostly historical accuracy, even if a lot of the drama, but you get lots of just like character studies in this, like of exactly what people were thinking at the time, which it is crazy. There's been so many adaptations of this in so many varying forms, TV shows, movies, anime, and it is just an incredible, timeless. There's a reason it's so famous, like insanely famous in China. It's like, and around the world. But yeah, the novel is among the most beloved works of literature in East Asia, and its literary influence in the region has been compared to that of the works of Shakespeare on English literature. It is arguably the most widely read historical novel in late imperial and modern China. That amongst Herbert Giles stated that among the Chinese themselves, this is regarded as the greatest of all their novels. So it's incredible. Yeah. And I wasn't really prepared to talk about books I love today, but that's pretty much all I got.
What do you want?
My last one was Romance of the Three Kingdoms.
All right, so I got a stack of new books. All right,
Jeez.
got a bunch of them. All right, so this one's called Paradise. Can I see myself again?
Are we out of the realms of history now?
Yeah, this is gonna be a little bit of fiction, but this is Paradise Lost by John Milton, and this is the single most like impressive prose
It
and
is crazy.
an impressive storyline I've ever seen. So we had to read this for my early modern history. And again, like a lot of these I had to read for early modern history. And there's a couple in here like I've never read, but I like really want to read, but like I'm kind of a phony in some ways where I like have these books that I can talk about, but I have never read. But yeah, anyways,
You have a lot of stuff.
yeah. Well, this book is called John Milton, and
It's called John Milton.
it's called Paradise Lost. It's about the fall of Eden and the fall of Adam and Eve. And what's the word where it's like, what's the type of poem where it's like the first word in each line is, what's that called?
Yes, hold on. I'm gonna pull up the Wikipedia on that because this book is insane.
Yeah, this book. So he was blind when he wrote this, and he he dictated it to his daughter, and she wrote it down.
Blank verse. It's a poem written with regular metrical but unrhymed lines, almost always in iambic pentameter.
Yeah. And can you look up what's it called? Look, where it's like the first line of each word is
Is that what that is?
what?
Is that what that's written in?
What?
What you're
No,
asking
no.
about?
There's a specific part where there's like a code written in it.
That's a oh God, what is the name of that?
It's a
A
ask the chatbot.
how do I even describe this?
Say
What is it called when the first line of a
poem makes a
makes a word or phrase or something. Acrostic.
Yeah.
First letter of it. Yeah, an acrostic.
look up acrostic Paradise Lost. Yeah.
Mountains acrostics.
Yeah. Am I reading this? Or
This
is too dense. This is too dense.
No.
Find out-
I know what this is though. Yeah, finding long hidden secret messages.
No, the toughest
It's like
one.
it's like when you listen to Stairway to Heaven.
Toughest one might be good. See if it's read this.
Let's see here.
The Milton Quarterly, and I remember there's this teacher I had.
She figured this out. Good for her.
No. There are people figured it out way before.
No, it says it's not every day that an undergraduate makes a significant discovery of one of the most famous poems in English literature.
Oh wow, fair enough.
Miranda Fowle at 18 did just that in her senior year at Tufts.
Wow, fair enough.
The treble fall, an interlocking acrostic in Paradise Lost, which is appearing in the Milton Quarterly.
So I had a professor in school who her main scholarship, like all of her scholarship revolved around this book. So this is like super influential. And honestly, this is more impressive than anything Shakespeare has done, in my opinion.
This is the one you're talking about. The Blind Milton's most famous acrostic, first described in 77, occurs during the oblique sidelong movement of the snake in Book 9 in lines remarking on the beauty of the still upright serpent as it approaches the still unfallen Eve. The left margin, read vertically, spells out Satan, since Satan is a name imposed by humans to replace the fallen angel's original name, now erased from the Book of Life. This acrostic marks its invention at the very moment of Adam and Eve's fall.
That is insane.
That's
all right. So read. And wait, and how did nobody?
Hers
how
is
did nobody
different.
see this?
Hers is different. She found another one.
Okay.
Let's see what she found. Fowl's discovery occurs somewhat earlier in Book 9 when Eve argues with Adam about whether they should stay close together, having been warned by an angel about the devil's imminent threat, or would gain double honor by resisting separately whatever temptation he might offer. Okay, well, what is it? In Fowl's reading, the acrostic entwines the double fall of man, fall, with the fall of Satan,
crazy.
a single fall. Oh. The acrostic entwined the double fall of man with the fall of Satan, a single fall read from top to bottom.
Yeah, so, and again, he wasn't even writing this down. He was dictating to his daughter what he wanted to say. And that is crazy. What do we got on stream?
That's insane. Huh?
How many we got? Alright, so the next book, we got 2 books. So I have read neither of these, but they're very interesting, and hopefully someday I can read them. We have Finnegan's Wake by James Joyce, and we got Ulysses by James Joyce.
Yep.
And now, can I see myself? And then we'll... So these are notoriously 2 of the hardest books to read and understand because the prose is so difficult. It's just written in a very unorthodox style. And Ulysses is supposed to represent, it's like 1 day long, of this guy living in Dublin, I believe, who, and it's supposed to mirror the Odyssey, and like his experiences are supposed to mirror the Odyssey. Let's just read the back real quick. And this is like his magnus opum for sure. Like it's a beast. All right, let's read and actually I've at times I've watched YouTube videos of guys like, while I read this, can you look up a YouTube video of breaking down Ulysses? So yeah, let's read the back here. Joyce's astonishing masterpiece, Ulysses, tells the diverse events which befall Leopold Bloom and Stephen Dedalus in Dublin on the 16th of June. Hold on, it's like a total like nerd guy. Like, keep going.
Oh, this guy looks trustworthy.
Honestly, I say we watch a video on this. I say we take a little sidebar and watch a video.
Let's do the TED.
Yeah, why not?
This planet's our only home, but we're not treating it that way. Greenwashing speaks.
James Joyce's Ulysses is widely considered to be both a literary masterpiece and one of the hardest
We're still
works of
continuing the
literature
sidebar,
to
but
read.
we're definitely going to get back to
It
the art
inspires
thing
such
after we do
devotion.
this book
Once a
sidebar,
year,
but I
on
think
a
it's
day
good
called
thing to do.
Bloomsday, thousands of people all over the world dress up like the characters, take to the streets, and read the book aloud.
What?
And some even make a pilgrimage to Dublin just to visit the places so vividly depicted in Joyce's opus. So what is it about this famously difficult novel that inspires so many people? There's no one simple answer to that question, but there are a few remarkable things about the book that keep people coming back. The plot, which transpires over the course of a single day, is a story of 3 characters. Stephen Dedalus, reprised from Joyce's earlier novel, A Portrait of the Artist as a Young Man; Leopold Bloom, a half-Jewish advertising canvasser for a Dublin newspaper; and Bloom's wife, Molly, who is about to embark on an affair.
Oh, who subscribed?
Stephen is depressed because of his mother's recent death. Meanwhile,
Oh.
Bloom wanders throughout the city. He goes to a funeral, his work, a
Thank you
pub,
for that
and so on.
subscription. I'm not sure who
Avoiding
that
going
is,
home
but put in the
because
chat
Molly
who
is
you
about
are.
to
I don't know
begin.
if you're...
I just want to check that real quick, so we'll.
Yeah, I don't know if you're... I think I might know who it is, but if not...
Just have this open.
Yeah, and again, we're going to start posting clips, so Gordina's going to take these VODs and get a start. Is that Unda?
Photos.
I think that might be Unda.
Hey,
What's up, fellas? That's a classic Joe Unda quote. What's up, fellas? So I know that's probably him.
What up, dog?
Yo, Joe, we're talking about James Joyce here, and we're doing a book review segment. So if you got something to throw in the chat, definitely do. And if you got any recs, then yeah, definitely. All right, let's keep playing.
Her affair. Where it really starts to get interesting, though, is how the story's told. Each chapter is written in a different style. 15 is a play, 13 is like a cheesy romance novel, 12 is a story with bizarre, exaggerated interruptions. 11 uses techniques like onomatopoeia, repetitions, and alliteration to imitate music. And 14 reproduces the evolution of English literary prose style from its beginnings in
That's crazy,
Anglo-Saxon
honestly.
right up to the 20th century. That all culminates in the final chapter, which follows Molly's stream of consciousness as it spools out in just
Stream
8
of
long
consciousness, I really
paragraphs
got-
with almost no
I really
punctuation.
liked this, especially in
The
freshman
range
year.
of
in
styles
college
Joyce
when I
uses in
discovered it.
Ulysses is one of the things that makes it so difficult, but it also helps make it enjoyable. And it's one of the reasons that the book is held up as one of the key texts of literary modernism,
Yep.
a movement characterized by overturning traditional modes of writing. Joyce fills his narrative gymnastic routines with some of the most imaginative use of language you'll find anywhere. Take, for instance, the figure seated on a large boulder at the foot of a round tower was that of a broad-shouldered, deep-chested, strong-limbed, frank-eyed, red-haired, freely freckled, shaggy-bearded, wide-mouthed, large-nosed, long-headed, deep-voiced, bare-kneed, brawny-handed, hair-legged, ruddy-faced, sinew-armed hero. Here, Joyce exaggerates the description of a mangy old man in a pub to make him seem like an improbably gigantesque hero. It's true that some sections are impenetrably dense at first glance, but it's up to the reader to let their eyes skim over them or break out a shovel and dig in. And once you start excavating the text, you'll find the book to be an encyclopedic treasure trove. It's filled with all manner of references and allusions, from medieval philosophy to the symbolism of tattoos, and from Dante to Dublin slang. As suggested by the title, some of these allusions revolve around Homer's Odyssey. Each chapter is named after a character or episode from the Odyssey, but the literary references are often coy, debatable, sarcastic, or disguised. For example, Homer's Odysseus, after an epic 20-year-long
So if you're in the
journey,
chat, we
returns home
originally
to
were
Ithaca
talking
and
about
reunites with his faithful wife.
the Arctic and some naval
Contrast,
exploration, but we
Joyce's
got
Bloom
sidetracked
wanders
on
around
book
Dublin
review,
for a day and returns
book
home to
review
his unfaithful
type of
wife.
thing. So we're gonna do that for a little bit,
It's a
and then
very
we're gonna
funny
go
book.
back to
It
finishing
has
up the
highbrow
Arctic
intellectual
thing. So I
humor
got
if
some.
you have the patience to track down Joyce's
There's a
references,
reason why we're doing it, but
and more
yeah.
lowbrow, dirty jokes. Those and other sexual references were too much for some. In the US, the book was put on trial, banned, and censored before it had even been completed, because it was originally published as a serial novel. Readers of Ulysses aren't just led through a variety of
Oh, I
literary
forgot that
styles.
it had been
They're
published.
also
like,
given a
like,
rich
people
and
are probably
shockingly
waiting for the
accurate
next
tour
chapter, you know.
of a specific
And that's
place
something
at a
Dickens
time.
used to do too.
Dublin in 1904. Joyce claimed that if Dublin were to be destroyed, it could be recreated from the pages of this book.
Yeah,
While
and
such
Joyce
a
was
claim
also
not
like super
exactly
cocky
true,
and talked
it does
about how
show the
like
great care
thick
that
he
Joyce
was.
took in precisely representing details, both large and small, of his home city. No small feat, considering he wrote the entire novel while living outside of his native Ireland. It's a testament to Joyce's genius that Ulysses is a difficult book.
What's a book we were forced to read?
Some
from high
people
school
find
or
it
any level
impenetrable
that y'all
without a
actually
full book
loved?
of annotations.
Mine's
to
Into
help
the
them
Wild by
understand.
John Krakauer.
I had
yeah.
read it. I had read it before, but I would probably say Dante's Inferno.
Yeah,
Even though that's only a very
Mr.
good book.
D. I can't remember if people had Mr. D, but he made us. He actually made us read the whole thing, and to get us to read the whole thing, he said you got to write down any word you don't recognize in the text, and there's gonna be a pop quiz on a bunch of words, but you were allowed to use your notes. And I actually loved the book when I read it. The narrative is crazy, and if you don't know the story, it's about this like college graduate, like super smart guy who like left everything behind, burned all his money, and went to go live in the wilderness in Alaska. And he ended up dying, but like his story and who he met along the way that was depicted in his journal was fantastic. And you want to talk about Dante for a second?
Oh yeah, just I think that's like it's one of the most legendary stories ever of like his journey through his like allegorical journey through hell.
Yeah.
And like all the inner circles of hell and like what people did to deserve to get to each one. and like famous people that he saw along the way there and everything, and um, it was fantastic. And then we read lots of good, like To Kill a Mockingbird, obviously fantastic
Yeah, I'm
book.
glad I read that. Tale of Two Cities. Remember?
Tale of Two Cities.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
That's an incredible,
And I remember.
incredible.
Yeah, incredible. And I remember. Well, it takes place in London and Paris, so the setting is just great.
Right.
But I remember. Do you remember in Miss Blocker's class, like we literally read aloud the entire book?
Yeah, cover to cover.
Like we read every page. Like I don't even know how we got through it because that book is long. But we literally read it out loud in class, and she would like
Oh yeah.
deep dive into like every like.
Yep.
Yeah,
every
she was
line.
honestly a good teacher. People
as far-
gave her
oh,
crap.
no,
but
as
she
far
was
as-
she was a good
Yeah.
teacher.
No, you could tell she loved those books and she knew her stuff.
I mean, she remember she was getting a little teary at the end, and she was like,
Yeah.
"I've read this like 50 times."
She was like, "Gets me every time."
Yes, me every time. All right, let's finish up. With
Joe said, "Boo Radley the goat." I
yeah,
agree.
Boo Radley. Let's finish up this
And what
Joyce
Joyce is
video.
even talking about. But
And then
there's
we're
a
going to
lot
talk
of
about
joy to be
Finnegan's
found
Wake
in
by
reading
Joyce.
it. More than just unpacking illusions and soul.
I feel like since we're talking about all these ones, obviously you got to mention, obviously Iliad and the Odyssey got to be in here.
Yes, I mean, yeah.
Obviously, for
And again, we had to read both those from my ancient history class, so I'm glad I actually got to this.
what do you like better?
Iliad, definitely.
Me too.
Absolutely.
Me too. Yeah, Odyssey was more like, obviously probably the more famous, more sensationalized, but Iliad the better book.
Yeah, I agree.
Solving puzzles. And if it's difficult, or frustrating, or funny, that's because life is all that and more. Responding to some criticism of Ulysses, and that was a lot when it was first published, Joyce said that if Ulysses isn't worth reading, then life isn't worth living. Up to the challenge?
A bold statement.
All right, so go to Joyce's wiki for a second. So this book is called Finnegan's Wake, and this is known as like the most difficult, most difficult book to read.
I'm
Like
gonna write a more difficult.
literally at this point, at points, he literally just talks nonsense, and it makes no sense. So
He looks like the type of guy that would do that.
so I'm gonna read like one paragraph from the first page. He goes, "The fall, blah blah gashlag blah blah mimite rabam nunk." Like you probably can't see this, but like look at the Gordian's looking at it. Like literally, it's literal. You
Wait,
can't
I
see
can't
this, but it's literal nonsense.
Wait, where was that?
Yeah, right here.
The Fall. Ba 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 da ga.
Oh, let's pull it up on screen. Look up like
That's
look up like Finnegan's
Hold
Wake,
on,
like not like.
I'll flip the.
Can they see that? Oh, it's not in focus.
Yeah, I'll get it focused on.
All right, this will be cut out. So, yeah, there we go. So you
Yeah.
can see that. Yeah. So what does that mean?
What is that? What is that?
Yeah, and that's littered throughout the book, and it makes like zero sense.
Do you want to
Can
keep it
we
like?
flip? Can we flip the camera back?
Just in case you have any more books to show.
Oh, true.
You want
that
to read
makes
them
sense.
backwards?
Yeah, that makes sense. So, you want to pull up Joyce's wiki?
Yeah, I'm on there.
Oh, we got one viewer. Come on.
Yeah, it's me.
Oh, fuck. Yeah, pull
um,
up Joyce's wiki.
I'm literally on there.
All right. Now go to Dubliners.
What?
The book Dubliners and Notable Works. In Notable Works on the right. In Notable Books on the right.
Oh,
So this is the only one I've read by him. Like, actually, I've tried to read Ulysses a couple times, but I just cannot be asked, honestly, right now. And yeah, so this one is 152 pages long, and it tells it's
oh,
like
that's it.
it's like a collection of like short. And this prose is actually very easy. So it's a collection of like short stories, and like go down to and read a couple examples of the types of stories.
Yep. The sisters. After priest Father Flynn dies, a young boy who was close to him hears some less than flattering stories about his father. An encounter, two schoolboys playing truant, encounter a perverted middle-aged man. Yeah, it's just random. Like,
Yeah,
random.
just random stories in Dublin, and it just tells you. And want to read a little bit of the style page.
It says there are two types of critics that are often at the forefront of the conversation around this: the realists and the symbolists. The realist views Dubliners as the most simple of Joyce's works, what often causes them to disregard the revolutionary nature of the work. The symbolists instead neglect the rebellious meanings behind Joyce's words.
Why they say it's revolutionary? I mean, I know Joyce has been revolutionary in the past, but why is this one revolutionary?
Doesn't really say much about it.
You know what? We've been on Joyce for a while, so I'm going to go to the next book.
Yeah, keep going.
Okay, so this book I used this book heavily when I was researching my thesis about climate change policy, and this is called Titans of Climate, talking about specifically. I was just reading a text. Okay, so wait till you hear who it's from. I'm writing specifically about Chinese policy and U.S. foreign policy, and the subheading is Explaining Policy Process in the USA and China, and it's written by people called Kelly Sims Gallagher and Xiwao Xuan, which is a Chinese name, obviously. I absolutely butchered that, I'm
Where
sure.
is it? Where is it? Zhao Wei Zhuang.
Yeah, so this is a super dense book about like Chinese policy. So we got this here. I've got it marked up because I just needed this. Read this a lot. You can see how I marked it up. But yeah,
Very uneven underlines.
I really relied on this book for my thesis, and it really like had so much about the intersection of Chinese policy and Chinese foreign policy and climate policy, which consequently is exactly what I was trying to research. So you guys, if you're interested in that, check that out. Jeez, I have so many books on here. All right, so this is a book. It's called Ancient Greek Philosophy. So this basically has every text, the main text in every. So I got this one is super marked up. You can see because I had to read. So you guys know I'm not faking, all right? So yep. Yeah. So this basically has every.
What's up, Ted?
What's up, Ted? So this one basically has every. And Teddy says, yeah. So Teddy, we're doing a little sidebar on books. You know what? Could we actually change the? Well, no, it doesn't really matter.
No, that's fine.
Yeah, it's fine. Yeah, so we're doing a sidebar on books, and then we're going to get back to some climate change and Arctic stuff. So, yeah, this basically has all of, like, Aristotle's books and all of Plato's narratives. Yeah, this is a really fantastic book, and basically every main text. Yeah, it's cool. All right, next, I haven't read this, but I have it in my bookcase because I got it when I bought a bunch of books. And it's Kafka's basically complete work. So you might know Kafka from the Metamorphosis. And what's that other book that's famous? There's another. The Metamorphosis. There's another one that's famous. It's not The Refusal, is it?
No.
The Judgment.
That might be it.
Yeah, but obviously I've read the Metamorphosis. We had to read that for school. It's super like influential in terms of just like the dreary. I mean, you've probably heard of the phrase Kafkaesque, which is means like dreary and depressing stuff. But yeah, you want to read a little bit
The
about
Trial and the Kafka.
Yeah, the trial. That's what it is. Yep.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's Kafka. So we'll do one more. This is about Lao Tzu, which is a guy old. Ancient Asian or like a philosopher back in the day. This one's super good, and it goes like I was born and raised in like a Catholic family, and like that's definitely influenced my life in a lot of ways. But I am really interested in Asian philosophy and stuff like that.